Can people hear that?
Loud and clear.
Hear that beautiful music? It was in Harper's Ferry, Pennsylvania, about 1993, 94. And I went into a little boutique store and I heard this music playing. And I saw that I had this woman came to mind, and she was in a Victorian, big, beautiful estate in England, and she was probably 1850 because she had those beautiful, but she was sobbing, she was crying, and she was going from room to room. And then the tape stopped, and I went up to the store, the clerk, and I said, what tape was that? And she said, oh, she went and got it for me, and it was, the music was Algonquin Trails. It was composed by Henny Becker, he's a Canadian composer. So I took the tape, I bought it. We're driving home, this was back to Pennsylvania, we were there at Harper's Ferry on a little trip, and I put the tape back in, and that music started. I heard this music, and immediately there was this woman again, and then I thought, oh, what happened to her? Then a couple of songs later was Stormy Sunday, and I got this vision of the same woman that was sobbing was riding this white stallion, and it was raining and storming, and you could hear thunder like you're hearing right now. And I thought, oh, what's wrong? And she was whipping this horse, and she was just so still so upset. And so I'm wondering what happened to her. So then it was about I played the tape over and over again to try to visualize what could be wrong with this woman, and my husband just got so tired of hearing it that he took the tape out and threw it in the back seat. 6 months later, and I'm out cleaning up my car on the inside, and I find the tape. So I put it back in the it was an 8-track cassette. So I put it in, and I got that same music playing again, Algonquin Trails, and it was the same lady. She was sobbing, and I thought, what? I've never had this happen to me before with music. Music, you know, you just means something to you, but this really was very strong. So I went in at the time, and that was quite a while, years ago, and I didn't know much about, writing at all, but I just had this feeling that I had to sit down at my computer. I think it was a word processor then. However, so I started typing, and 360 pages later, I found out what happened to this woman. And so it was kind of a jumbled mess of words, and wasn't, you know, I tried to get everything written down, so I did. And that's when I got proofreader, and I tried to put things in some kind of a logical order, and then I tried to explain to my friends that while I was writing the words down, it was like a tribunal of people in a kitchen back in 1850 England on this estate. And it was so strange because it was a big log table, and it had a butler, and it had some maids, and they were average people. And when I would write the story, when I would go back in editing what happened, they would argue almost with each other. No, it didn't happen that way, it happened this way. And Mary Ann did this, and Mary Ann was the lady that was sobbing from room to room. And that's when I put all the story together, that her husband had died. She was newly married, maybe by 2 years, had frequent miscarriages, and so she was very saddened. Her husband died from riding this white stallion, trying to jump this impossibly high hedgerow, and he rolled off and broke his neck, and that's how I found out why she was crying. So that's my first book. So with all this inspiration, but the funny part about it was this tribunal of people that were telling me what happened. And a lot of my friends thought, well, are you kind of weird, or I don't know what the psychological term is, you're hearing voices. And I said, yeah, I heard voices. People would explain to me what happened, and I'm not a nutty person. So I just wanted to do this YouTube, so if there's anybody out there that has had this ambition to write, or this feeling when they're listening to music or reading a book or something, don't think you have to be a Harvard graduate to write a book. Because the book that I wrote is Winthrop, and I have it now on Kindle. But more importantly, the beauty of this book was the inspiration of the music by Mr. Becker. And I wrote him an email and told him that I was inspired, and that he emailed me back, and he said fans that had written about his music was so inspiring, but he said, I never had anybody tell me that my music inspired a book, but it did. And so I will send him a copy of this YouTube to explain better how it is. But for people that are worried that they don't have a voice or a message, it doesn't have to be a Pulitzer. It's just what you feel and how the inspiration that you got to write. And it was, like I said, it was like channeling. Like these people would explain to me what happened almost in detail. But I think if you just let your mind go and write down what comes to you, I think you'll find the beauty of writing. And you don't have to find a publisher from New York, these fancy pants agents, and just do it yourself. It's very easy. You can e-publish it and just follow e-directions on Kindle. You just get your copyright. You don't even need an ISBN number, but you can do this. And I think you can. You don't know the beauty that shines through and what other people can experience through this. So I just encourage you to, if you feel intimidated, if you're worried about your English, it doesn't, just find local librarians or people who will help you with your editing and your spelling and your composition. But it's all there, and the beauty of novices and people, it's your heart. And I would say that just go for it and do it, and don't be inhibited, and don't be bossed around by people that say that you have to have a degree in English to succeed. I certainly didn't, though I like to write, but anyway, that's just my message, and my message to Mr. Becker for his beautiful compositions, so inspiring. And then I went on to write 6 more novels after that. Same tribunal of people, different ones for different settings, but if you allow your mind to listen to these people, or whatever people that you find that have a message, write it down. And I guess that's all I have to say. And you can, if you want to talk to me more, here's my website. I don't know if you can see it, but it's Victorian Romance Novels. Or you can reach me through my email, Carol, C-A-R-O-L, at Victorian Romance novels.com. And you can email me. And okay, all right. Well, I hope you have a nice writing career, and thank you.